Hi everyone! It's been a while since I talked about XBAND on YouTube. A few months ago I posted a big comment about how I probably wouldn't work on it anymore, and then I posted some memes. But in the meantime, I actually started working on it again, and some of you may have seen my devlog on Twitter. And today I'm announcing the open beta of my XBAND server. So if you have an XBAND modem, you can get connected and send Xmail, set up a players list, and kinda play games, but more on that in a little bit. So if you don't know what XBAND is, it was a service used with a pass-through cartridge that let you play console games with people across the country over a phone line. It kind of works like a Game Genie with a modem stapled to it. It was released on a few different consoles, although in this case my server's for the Genesis and Super Nintendo versions. The XBAND service ran for a few years, but the player base never grew as much as the creators Catapult Entertainment would have liked, and the XBAND servers were shut down in the US in 1997. Sadly, the servers being shut down completely killed XBAND. You can't really do anything on it without connecting to Catapult's servers other than look at the info that's already saved on your modem. And since it uses a battery to hold the data, the modems really just became paperweights. Even though XBAND died so soon, it's a really fascinating story. And if you want to know more, I can highly recommend the documentary over on Wrestling with Gaming, which has some interviews with the original devs. And there's also a good overview by Retro Game On, and links for those are in the description. Now, if you are familiar with XBAND, you may remember that a group called Retro.Live, which sadly isn't together anymore, was working on a revival project. They had a server that worked, but ran into latency issues, and that made gameplay really laggy. That wasn't their fault. When you send a modem call through voice over IP, the connection is much lower quality than a call on the 90s phone network, and most importantly, much higher in latency, enough that XBAND keeps trying to resync. That's still a problem. My server's not a magic bullet, and we're still limited by how the internet works, and to some extent the laws of physics, so gameplay using voice over IP will still be laggy. Because of this, and some other related factors, the focus of my server project isn't on gameplay specifically. It works with some limitations, but unless you have a real analog copper POTS line, you're going to have lag if you can even get in-game at all. True analog landlines are so rare these days that out of about 10 alpha testers, only one person seems to have one. What you're looking at now is a perfect, ideal setup using a local PBX, but for most people, the best you're going to get is something more like this. But aside from gameplay, most other features are working. Latency doesn't matter for Xmail or anything like that, and one of the alpha testers actually connected from France using the Japanese Super Famicom XBAND modem. So you have an XBAND, how do you get connected? Right now, there are 3 different ways you can use. Each one has its pros and cons, and it would be too much to explain it all in this video, but the gist of it is, you can use a landline, which is the easiest if you already have a landline in your home. You can use voice over IP. We've been using these Linksys analog telephone adapters, which are about $15 on eBay. Or, if you have a DreamPi setup and a spare SD card, you can use that. More info and all the setup instructions for these are on the retrocomputing.network website. One thing you'll want to keep in mind is that if you want to try gameplay, you will need a Super Nintendo or Super Famicom XBAND, either a US Super Mario Kart or a Japanese Super Street Fighter 2, and you'll need to be using the landline or VoIP connection methods. Hardware limitations mean DreamPi is not supported for gameplay right now. An important note about preservation. If you do have an XBAND and it has player profiles on it when you power it up, keep it powered up and contact me as soon as you can. XBAND worked using patches that would modify the games to work with the modem. And these were downloaded from the Catapult servers and stored in XBAND's memory, again, kept alive by a battery. Probably the most tragic thing about XBAND is that most of these patches have been lost to time. The Retro.Live team was able to get a few from the original devs, but some had to be dumped from modems that still had working batteries, and as XBAND pushes 25 years old, most of the batteries have died. If you power yours up and it shows existing players, you have a working battery. That means your XBAND may hold data that could help us better preserve the network. So keep it powered up and contact me, and we can extract what we need over the normal phone connection. I think that's about all that I wanted to cover. I'm trying to keep this brief. Check the website, retrocomputing.network, if you want to get connected. Also, if you're interested in a service like XBAND, but with gameplay that actually works these days, keep an eye on Retro.link. There are some cool things in store. Thank you for watching, and if you have an XBAND, I hope to see you on the network soon.